So what I wanted to just mention is this, that been working with Avi, known Avi for many years, and Avi and I actually had a good share Tanya together going for a while, and it's good to know, not sure who learned more from who. I think I learned a lot more from Avi at the time. But what this really is, this whole idea, is effectively Chassidus applied. And that means that we learn a lot of Chassidus, and it's a good theory, but here it comes into real practice. And what I mean is that the natural tendency when you have a child like this is what Avi was saying before about chinuch. The natural tendency is that, hey, you gotta just be frum. And it's like, why can't you just be normal? And you see a child come there like, dressed up like whatever he was saying before, and you just want to say, hey, it's this easy. You just dress like me and you make it look good, and then everything's fine. And as a family member, it's very enticing to say, just be that way. And really what's going on is that we don't really care about the neshama of the child. What we care about, and let's call a spade, is the way it looks to the world, which means that I just need my sister, my niece, my daughter, my granddaughter to just look normal. And really, the reason is so that the world should say we're not a Meshuggah family, so that we should have good shidduchim and be able to find normalcy out there. And that's how we describe it, and that's great. And what that does is basically says to the child, because the child is very, very sensitive, and the child's really listening. What you say is what you are is so loud that I can't hear what you say. And the child senses that you don't care about me, you care about you, and all you're doing is using me to enhance you and your look. And when you learn Chassidus, what you want to know is you want to say, hey, if a neshama is a chelek elekam mimal mamish, then who's more important, what my neighbor thinks, or is it more important what God thinks? It's more important what the Eibishter is. If I can sense and hone in on, hey, this is a neshama, and the neshama is a chelek elekam mimal mamish. And the mitzvah of Avas Yisrael, if you learn Perek Lamed Beis in Tanya, it's very clearly to love the other person. The chavlei avoisos ahava, with thick braids of love. Chulihai ve'ulai, and you never know, maybe you'll succeed in bringing them. That's not really a maybe. A maybe of the Alter Rebbe is pretty much a vadai, because it's very simple. Kamayim aponim laponim kin leva adam le'adam, Shlomo Melech says. And when you look in water and you reflect back on yourself, whatever you see in the mirror is exactly what you put in. So too, Kain Leva Adam Ela Adam. It isn't possible to send love to someone and not to receive love back. If you love someone, you will receive love back. It's a pure physical phenomenon. And you mamish see it. You see it very clearly when you look at the neshama of the child. And that's what this whole idea is. I don't think this is twisted parenting. That I disagree. It's not twisted parenting. It's twisted from the way we look at parenting, the usual way. But this is really what parenting is. And this is really the whole art of parenting, is to be able to say to the child, okay, look, love you for what you are. Meaning, I look at you as a chelek elekam mimal mamish. I look at you as a holy neshama. And I'm excited that you exist. Because Bonim Atem Hashem Elokeichem, you're a child of Hashem. Just the fact that you exist is the greatest thing in the world. When you learn Chassidus and you learn, that Beis Reishis Bora Elikim Es Hashamayim Ve'Haaretz, God created the world for two who are called Reishis, B'Shvil Yisrael or B'Shvil HaTorah. Not for Yisrael who keep Torah, but rather for Yisrael and for Torah as two separate things. And so the purpose of creation is just for the sake of a Jew. And that's very difficult to handle, because when it's a Jew, it's like, oh, you just love her just for what? What do you mean? But she's doing everything wrong. And then you look back and you say, but that is exactly what affords me the opportunity to practice Chassidus in real. This is Rashi, Bishvil Yisrael or Bishvil HaTorah, that I love the Jew for what they are and for no other reason. And you know what? It's the easiest thing in the world to do it when it's a Jew you don't know. Because you'll discover that when it comes to someone else's child, you will be the greatest expert in the world. Once you figure this out, you'll see it's very simple. You just got to love them. And when a girl comes to your house and she's not from, everybody knows exactly how to love her, and that's why we're able to be Makar people. The secret of Chabad being able to bring people back is to just love them for what they are. And you say, it doesn't make a difference what you do. And Memela, they look at you and they say, I want to be like you. Somehow, when it comes to a family member, we are not able to get past that because it's all about this ego of ourselves, but you're not looking like me. And what's with you? But ultimately, the force of Chassidus is to be able to penetrate the neshama. And when one neshama talks to another neshama, there's going to be fireworks in a positive way. When two neshamas are conversing, that means if my neshama can access the real depth of who my neshama is, and that I realize I don't care what the neighbors think. I mean, I do, but I'm going to go deeper than that. And I'm going to touch your neshama, and I'm going to say to you that from my love in my neshama straight to you, then if one neshama calls onto another and they're talking to each other, then they are going to converse on a deeper level. So when you say to the child, you gotta be from, keep Shabbos, the child hears what you're really saying, which is that you should be like the neighbors, make me look good. And that's why yeshus, ego to ego, the response is going to be negative. But if you look at your own self and you say, listen, I know what I really want. I'm going to look deeper inside myself. And I'm going to discover, I'm going to channel that back to you. Then the child, the other kid looks back at you and says, what did I just get? I'm shocked. I just got straight, simple love. And that's going to respond back and say, if that's the case, I'm going to give you back. If I see that you're a real chassid, wow, I'm amazed because I know you really care about shidduchim, and so that's what you're interested in. So I'm going to respond back. And my neshama is going to be ignited. If you talk with neshama, you ignite neshama. If you talk with ego, you ignite ego and a war and a fight. And that's really the art of twisted parenting, which is to be able to talk neshama to neshama. And the strange part about it is that suddenly your shidduchim and your family and all the things you wanted to become better, in the long run, actually become better. Because who doesn't want to get connected to a family who's full of love, who's full of connection in the greatest way possible, and that can bring back this kind of child? So it's really avoida. This is avodas Hashem on the part of everyone who participates in it. It's an exhilarating journey. It's a journey of discovering your own avoida, your own neshama, which ignites another neshama. Practically, it's not easy. It's a real challenge, and as things happen as they go along, you'll see it's a real avoida. But I'd like to wish everybody that this should be, it says that Avas Yisrael, and at Boima Parade, we used to hold a sign that says Avas Yisrael brings about the Geula. In Eretz Yisrael, Avat Yisrael Tavi et HaGoel. Well, here we get the actual opportunity to practice that and to practice it where it hurts, and it really hurts. And that pain is the ability of avoida to actually transpire. So I'd like to wish that should all have a journey of real avodas Hashem, and this is what brings Mashiach, and we should be zeicher that we should need this kind of thing, and yeshikoyach to every one of you for actually being here and actually being willing to participate, and God willing, you should be Matzliach, and yeshikoyach to Avi for doing your work with it, and the Rebbe will help.